your eye on the tape. Said once it never be it, just proceed when they think. Just smile with they fake. I know when it's fake. It ain't hard to tell when they only want pain. Thinking like always with the rain. If I drop the night sky at you, will be shaking. I can spell it out in the stars for your favorite. Still you look at me like you don't know what I'm saying. Crowds get to breaking, tectonic quaking. Even on a good day, you don't wanna face no bones. Get you scared now. With my head down, real tree camera on the place till it stand out. Oh, evaporate to the night when you smoke. Cold corpse on ice, catch your froze. It's a damn is the life you chose. When the pill, light what we both. Evaporate to the night when you smoke. Cold corpse on ice, catch your froze. It's a damn is the life you chose. When the pill, light bud.
Today we're talking about the AWS, the Bingo, Bullseye, Sniper, as well as the Wildfire pistol. Both of these guns utilize Bullseye. Now you can go to the wish machine and press blueprint shop like so, go to the pistol blueprint and buy yourself Wildfire, go to sniper rifle, buy yourself Bingo, although that's low-key a waste because you're gonna be spending 8,000 star chrome to get the sniper, where you can spend a little bit less to get it. And if your server is on phase 4, which if you can see by pressing escape, click here, Evolution's Call, you click on phase 4, and on phase 4 it says Roaming Hunter and Bounty Hunter now available with specific weapon blueprints guaranteed. This is for PvP server. If you're in a PvE server, however, this gun is not going to be here and you're probably going to get something else. But here, if you click on Bounty Hunter, you will be able to roll for it. And I actually advise to roll here because, I mean, it's guaranteed after 20 rolls. 20 rolls, by the way, equals to 10,000 star chrome. By the way, you can get that sniper maybe on your first or fifth roll, so you have a chance to even get it before 20 rolls. And in general, it's just better to roll here, if it's available of course, rather than buying it directly from the shop, because you'll be gaining extra weapon blueprints fragments here. You'll be getting these blue fragments, these purple fragments, and these ones are going to be used for upgrading your gear as well. Now, if you click G Blueprint Shop again, there is key gear blueprints. And if you click on Weapon Blueprint, scroll down, you will find the Seasoned Hunter Leather Boots. These are going to be important for this build. If you don't use them, then this build is going to be... I will get later on what these boots do. So now that you know how to get these blueprints, let's start off by explaining how these weapons work. We're going to start with the Sniper, the Bingo, Bullseye. It has 70% chance to trigger the bullseye on a weak spot hit. You will not trigger bullseye if you're shooting the enemy in the body. So take a look at this. We have the gun right now. I'm gonna shoot one bullet. And if I keep shooting the body right now, we will never trigger bullseye on them, ever, until you reload your weapon. And what I mean is until you reload your weapon is that if you take a look at another passive of the weapon, it says after switching to this weapon, the first hit will trigger the bullseye. So here's how it works. You swap your weapon, and now you can basically inflict the bullseye and mark the enemy as long as you hit your first shot. So if you miss your first shot, boom, you cannot trigger bullseye anymore. You would have to swap your weapon like so. Boom, you can now trigger bullseye again. You just have to hit your first shot. By the way, it doesn't have to be that enemy that you're aiming at. It could be literally a rabbit or something, you know, like another player or just another entity to get that effect. So when you swap your weapon like this and then you hit your first bullet, boom, the target's now marked, and then the next bullet will do weak spot damage. As you can see, we just did like 30k damage to it. We didn't even aim to the head, and you can see it's doing wide damage again. So what I have to do is just swap my weapon, hit the first bullet, next bullet is going to be weak spot. Boom. Now I'm going to explain these boots how they work. They basically, after triggering the bullseye, the next one bullet will count as weak spot hits even if they did not hit the weak spot. The weak spot damage plus 30% to enemies that are marked or that are inflicted by the bullseye. So as you know, we swapped our weapon to our sniper. Boom. We have to hit our first shot. Boom, we hit our first shot. The enemy is now marked. The next bullet is going to be weak spot damage. Boom. Since we hit that weak spot, remember, the gun has a 70% chance to trigger the bullseye on a weak spot hit. So that bullet that we hit, it could have triggered the bullseye or it probably didn't. If it didn't, then you have to swap the gun again like this. Boom. Your first shot will always trigger bullseye. You just have to hit it. Boom, we triggered it. And now if you shoot again, we triggered it again. We triggered it again because we're hitting weak spots. And if you hit weak spots, again, 70% chance to trigger it. So as you can see, we keep triggering it. Boom, we got wide damage. It's over. So that's how marking enemies work. The third one grants weak spot damage plus 15% on hit for 10 seconds. Its effect can stack up to 3 times. So you just have to hit the enemy anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the head. You can be basically in the body like this. You can see above my thirst bar or above my food bar that we are stacking. There's an eye icon and now it's 2. If I hit again, it's 3. So you just have to hit the enemy 3 times and then your weak spot damage is going to be stacking up. And then lastly, after defeating an enemy with a weak spot hit, attack plus 15% for 20 seconds. That's basically what it is. What makes the sniper so strong is these boots, old huntsman boots. So that's basically it. When you PvP, you swap the weapon, boom, hit your first shot. Next shot is going to be weak spot damage, boom, you just keep spamming your sniper. You know, if you're not hitting the weak spots again, you just swap your sniper again, boom, hit your first shot. Next shot is going to be weak spot, boom, spam your sniper like that, and there you go. That's literally how it works. Let's go now explaining the Wildfire pistol. It has 60% chance to trigger the bullseye when hitting a target. Basic. Shoot, you trigger bullseye or you don't. You have a 60% chance to do it. When you do trigger bullseye, same goes with this pistol. When you do trigger bullseye, then these boots that we are wearing will give us a headshot damage guaranteed and also increase 30%. So let's say I shoot, we trigger bullseye, boom, next shot is weak spot in the body, as you saw. Again, without these boots, that's not going to be possible. There is a 80% chance to spread the bullseye to 1 enemies within a 15-meter area. If there are no enemies within the area, weapon damage plus 25% for 10 seconds. If you trigger bullseye, then the second passive applies. So let's say you're shooting, right? You're shooting, boom, boom, boom. You trigger bullseye, and then we go through that 80% chance. If there's enemies around the area, boom, you're gonna spread the bullseye to another player that's in the 15-meter radius. And if there's no one in the 15-meter radius, it's just one player you're shooting and triggering the bullseye, then all it's gonna do is will just give you weapon damage plus 25% for 10 seconds. When you hit a weak spot of marked enemies, attack plus 3% for 10 seconds up to 3 stacks. So you will just gain plus 9% attack for 10 seconds if you just keep, you know, hitting the weak spot. What just happened, bro? But okay, my stuff glitched. So with this pistol, you don't have to be hitting the headshots like so. That's 3 headshots. We just stacked our attack to 9% instantly for hitting 3 headshots. You can be hitting in the body shots as long as you see purple damage. Purple damage is headshots. Then you will be stacking that 9% attack. Attack, by the way, is just weapon damage, or is just in general your weapon-based damage. The white damage that you see is attack. I don't know why they call it attack, but yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's how these 2 guns work. Wildfire and the Bingo. Now we're going to go through the calibration we are using for this pistol, Wildfire. We are using rapid shot style, and It gives us fire rate plus 25%, magazine capacity plus 40%, and attack minus 15%. Now this is good, it sounds great, but probably the better option would be to just go with precision style calibration on the pistol, because it will slow down your weapon a little bit, it will shoot slower, but you will be getting plus 20% attack, I'm pretty sure. So yes, we do lose minus 15% attack with the fire rate, so if you don't like spamming the weapon, by the way, I can shoot very fast like this, because if you go to settings, click on mouse display, click on control, here you can change pistol fire mode to hold. So if I change to single click, I would have to, you know, manually click my mouse to shoot. So now you could probably try going crit rate build with this, but I'm just going full in weak spot damage for this gun. For the sniper, we are using bolt pulling speed plus 50% and reload speed plus 50%, attack minus 10%. You need the bolt pulling speed, there's no other way, and you want weak spot damage on it as well. Again, if you want to go for a crit build, you could possibly try that, but today, we are using weak spot. So, you know, these weak spot damages can be higher, maybe like 9% here, and here maybe like 16%, but it all depends on your luck, what calibration blueprints you get. And if you don't know how to get these blueprints, just go watch my video on how to get them. I have a full video on how to get these calibrations. All you need to do is just go to POI, loot weapons, and then disassemble them, or go do silos and clear these silos, whether it's X1, just go farm mods, and then you will get weapons from it and disassemble them, and you will get blueprints. Now, how do you quickly pull the bolt when shooting? So what you do is you shoot, zoom out, zoom in again, just like so. There's actually many ways to do this, but you can basically shoot, walk forward, and shoot again, walk forward. What I prefer though is just zoom in, shoot, zoom out, zoom in again. And the result is like this. However, if you don't have bolt pulling speed, this will not work. Now let's go through the mods. So for the pistol, we have a vulnerability amplifier violent. You could be using Hunter's Perk, and the enemy that you mark, if they shoot at you, they will do 20% less damage to you. This could work. Vulnerability amplifier, it adds vulnerability plus 8%, and what it does is just makes you do more damage to them. And there is another weapon mod that is called Recover Mark. This is good for PvE because you will be basically marking enemies, you know, and if you use the pistol, you can just constantly, you know, shoot, and you will get healed without the need of using activators or anything, or the deviations. You'll just get healed a lot. That recover mark is good for PvE. However, for PvP, you will need this vulnerability amplifier or the Hunter's Perk. We are using vulnerability amplifier, and you can see I'm using crit damage. I don't have weapon damage on this one. I only have weapon damage in this one, and I'm so unlucky with the rolls. I just literally can't get the rolls I need. I need to get weak spot damage and weapon damage. That's the goal when you go for this build, because we're using a sniper build. But yeah, for the weapon you want weak spot damage and weapon damage. I will also provide a full mod sheet list of where you can get the mods. There's also another sheet right here. If you click, boom, boom, you can see there's mods here. If you click on the substats, you will be able to see what possible roles you can get here. So basically, this is the pool table, and I will make a separate video for this soon. For now, this is still work in progress, and this is only for PvP server. Prime Wars or PvE server is not included for the substats here, so it's completely different. And all the information is here for the substats. Again, the link will be in the description and pinned comments. Moving on now to sniper that we are using. So again, vulnerability amplifier, you want to get weak spot damage and weapon damage to get the maximum damage from the sniper. For the helmet, we are using a precise strike. We have hitting a weak spot grants weak spot damage plus 12% for 3 seconds. It stacks 3 times, which means if you hit the weak spot 3 times, you're going to get 36% weak spot damage increase. You want to get weak spot damage on it and weapon damage as substats. And it has to be precision. The mod has to be called precision suffix, basically. On the mask, we are using most wanted now, and what this does is every time an enemy is marked, attack plus 5% for 8 seconds. Effect can stack up to 3 times. So if you shoot the pistol, boom, 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 we probably triggered like 5 times the bullseye, you know, so they're marked 5 times. By the way, there's no cooldown for it, you can keep marking them, and it will just always work. This is going to stack to 15% attack, and attack again just increases your base damage. Now you could be using most wanted, but you can see again I got crit damage and weapon damage on it. Now what I really use is I use targeted strike. This is for a crit build basically, so when you hit the enemy that's marked, you will get 10% crit and crit damage plus 25%. You could mix it up, like have some crit, but I don't know if that would really work because stacking full weak spot damage will most likely be better, because relying too much on crit and sacrificing weak spot damage is kinda you know, because you have to like utilize that crit damage. Your weapon has to crit. Let's actually put this mod and see. We have now the targeted strike, so when I shoot an enemy, we have a 10% increased crit rate. So when I shoot, you can see we're not critting that much. I saw only one crit, two crits and like what, 15 bullets? Yeah. So just get most wanted for the mask. However, this mask mod is very rare. You have to get it from X1, and I spent 40 controllers. I couldn't get it. This is the best option I got. Crit damage and weapon damage. So we need weak spot damage and weapon damage for the most wanted one. If you don't get it, then just use targeted strike. It will work. Once you get most wanted, get that and use it. Now for the gloves, we're using weak spot damage, boost, precision, just giving us some weak spot damage, juicy damage. We have weak spot damage on it and we have weapon damage on it. You need these two. These are the most important ones. The rest could be anything, defense stats or damage bonuses or magazine capacity, whatever. We just want weak spot damage and weapon damage. For the boots, we are using covered advance, precision. It's again, weak spot damage and weapon damage, most important ones. For the top, we are using weak spot damage, boost, precision. And this one is weak spot damage plus 15% and weak spot damage plus 5%. These are really great rolls for this mod, so you know, very nice. Now there's one thing. I have this weapon damage munitions amplifier and I have this weak spot damage. So if I equip this munitions amplifier, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna equip my mods from my boots, boom. I'm gonna equip my cradle, this one, because it's gonna annoy us a little bit. So I'm gonna wait till the buff expires. We're gonna test the damage real quick. I'm also gonna equip my pants because that is interfering and giving me damage boost against the same target if I shoot. So right now we are using weak spot damage. Let's test the damage. Weak spot damage in the body, 1567. We're gonna wait. And now in the head, 3907. Now let's put on the munitions amplifier, weapon damage 9%, and shoot it in the body, 1669. And now we shoot in the head, 3912. So clearly you saw that the munitions amplifier does more damage than the weak spot damage, because how it works is that your white damage that you do is multiplied by the weak spot damage. So for the chest piece, it's better to go with munitions amplifier. As you saw, we tested without any damage bonuses like normal enemies, because that affects the dummy damage. So we're gonna get our armor back on. We're gonna get our cradle back on. And actually for the gloves now, I want to talk about this. Feel free to test and play around with the munitions amplifier. Sadly, I myself do not have the mod for the gloves. So if you do get a mod that is called Precision Munitions Amplifier, test the damages compared to the weak spot damage boost and the munitions amplifier and see which one does more damage. Just unequip everything, put only your gloves, and then shoot in the body, see if the weak spot damage one does more. Just basically test the DPS with that, because again, the sniper does benefit from weapon damage bonus here, as well as the pistol. And lastly, for the pants, we are using a unstoppable precision. This is how much 20 meters in this game is, so it's not that much. So your pistol will do a little bit of damage. Let's say the enemy is there, I'm shooting it, then that's 34 meters. So if you do use this mod, it actually will work for the pistol as well. It will just not benefit that much if you're very close to the target. And it says for every additional 1 meters away from the target, you will get weak spot damage plus 1%, up to 20%. So in total, you will get 40% weak spot damage boost increase, but you will have to be 40 meters away, which is this much. That's how much. If the target is there, you will get the maximum damage increase. However, if you don't like Unstoppable, this mod also could work, but again, this mod is terrible. I don't have good substats on it. It would need weak spot damage and damage bonus. But basically what this does is your first 3 hits with the 3 strikes mod will basically do 50% more damage to the weak spot. So boom, boom, boom. We used our bonus. Now we will do normal damage again. So every time you reload, the first 3 bullets you fire will have a 50% weak spot damage increase. But since we're using the sniper, I think Unstoppable is more beneficial here than the 3 strikes. The 3 strikes might be better for the shotgun if you have a lot of bullets in the shotgun. But yeah, these are the mods we are using. That's basically it for the mods. Now let's go to blueprints. Again, to shoes, you will need Seasoned Hunter leather boots for this. So you will have 5 armor parts left. So the armor I'm wearing is Renegade parts. I'm gonna need Renegade for the sniper build, and here I am using it. So if you PvE, you can go with 4 Renegade, and basically it's gonna give you extra bullets. Although I don't think that's really necessary to just gain like 4 or 5 bullets and waste 1 armor slot. So I just went with 3 Renegade parts instead. Then you could go with 2 parts of Agent, and that will give you head damage reduction and weak spot damage. If you don't like the 3rd part, then you can go only for 2 parts of Renegade for PvP. And if you do PvE, then go with 3 parts. So if you do decide to go with 2 Renegade parts, then you go with 2 Agent parts for head damage reduction and weak spot damage plus 10%. You could get the 3rd Agent part, but I wouldn't really recommend it. For the last part for PvP, I would just go with a Shelterer part, so you get some status damage reduction from other people. Let's say if you get shot by Jaws or something, well, it's just gonna reduce the bomb damage that they deal to you. If you don't like Shelterer, then just go with Heavy Duty 1 part, you will get max HP or something. The last armor is all dependent on you. If you don't want to go for defensive armor, go with Bastille set, and that's just gonna give you weapon damage plus 10% when your HP is above 70%. You could go with that. So conclusion, PvP, Renegade 2 parts, Agent 2 parts, and one of your choice. Offensive, Bastille, or defensive, Shelterer, status damage reduction. If you don't like neither of those, neither Shelterer or Bastille, then you could literally go with the last armor piece that will give you magazine capacity. If you don't like Renegade or Agent, then what you can do is just go with 4 Savior parts, and the last one could be just a Shelterer piece. Because the Savior's armor is actually broken in PvP, it just heals you automatically, and you don't have to use your own heals. It heals you for you. The cooldown is 40 seconds, however. But it works. And then on the 4th parts, if you wear, you will just get some insane damage reduction, you will get some damage, and you will also get cloaked, and you will also get some movement speed. God damn it, that's so much. But that's for PvP. Again, if you do PvE, just go with 3 parts of Renegade and 2 parts of Agent. It will work perfectly. Lastly, let's go through the Cradle perks that we are using. So you need handgun enhancement plus 20% damage with the pistol. You will need long range enhancement plus 20% damage with the sniper rifle. Then if you PvE, you will need the Deviation Master as well as the Master Tactician. However, if you PvP, of course you want to have this in this, because when you roll, you'll just receive less damage. Brawl Boost for reduced damage from players. If you don't like Sprint, then you could replace Rapid Aid, which means if you use Savior, you will get healed more. And if you do PvP, then you can change the offensive stat to a defensive stat, which could be like when using a healing shot, movement speed plus 20%, you know, or like damage reduction plus 20% and healing received plus 20% when HP is below 30%. So I'm pretty sure this works for Saviors. You could use that. However, I'm using offensive stats, so then you will definitely need Tactical Combo, weapon damage 25% for 4 seconds after switching weapons or reloading. These the ones are the very most important ones, is Steady Hand and the Bounty Hunter. So Steady Hand just gives you more weak spot damage to the bullseye by 20% when you mark them. So if you mark, let's say this dummy is marked, and there you go, you're doing 20% more damage to its head if they're marked. And then this Bounty Hunter, it just gives you more damage, weapon damage, when you kill a marked target. It works for players, works for animals, works for everything. So this is good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this build guide. That's basically the sniper build that I've been using. That's how I killed the Forsaken Giant. That's how I soloed Leah Lab. This build is amazing. It's fun, but I'm pretty sure that the boots we are using will get nerfed in the future because they're broken. Nonetheless, it's a fun build, and this build, it works from phase 1 till phase 6 basically, so the whole game. So if you're starting, you don't know what gun to go for, well, there you go. Easy route is Doombringer, Wildfire, and the bingo AWS. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments down below. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments or join my Discord. I always answer in my Discord. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace out.